In the headlines, troops rescue 6 Gusau University female students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining activities across the state over security concerns. Plateau Tribunal upholds Governor Muftuang's election victory. Also in the news, Ghana police arrest 49 as high cost of living triggers street protest. Well, good evening and welcome to the Trust News Update. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Zamfara as operatives of Operation Hadarin Daji have intercepted the abduction of female students of the Federal University of Gusau who were kidnapped in the early hours of Friday, rescuing 6 of the students. Reports say the troops pursued the kidnappers, tracing them to a thick forest, engaging them in a gun duel supported by air components of the Nigerian Air Force. A source in the military says 6 of the abducted students were rescued and several terrorists have been neutralized. The troops also recovered rifles, motorcycles and other items from the terrorists. The rescue operation follows the abduction of the female students from their rented hostels at Sabongida community, few meters from the Federal University of Gusau facility. Staying in Zamfara, residents across the state are urging the federal government to demonstrate strong political will in tackling the security challenges bedeviling the state to restore peace and stability of socio-economic activities across the state. Now, they made the call in an interview with Trust TV News in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, following the recent upsurge in activities of bandits which have crippled agricultural activities across the state.
With banditry activities taking a toll on economic activities in Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria, residents are expressing fear that there is a possibility of a food crisis if nothing is done urgently by the government to address the lingering security challenges confronting the state and part of the troubled northwest. They narrated that the men have started from cattle rustling and gradually gravitated to kidnapping for ransom, maiming, attacking and killing of innocent citizens. There's also the imposition of levies on farmers before they can access their farmlands for farming, adding that when the harvest season sets in, the farmers will also be asked to pay levies to harvest their crops. For retired Army Captain Mohammed Meyachi, the escalation in attacks and kidnapping in Zamfara State in recent times was an attempt by the armed bandits to force the government to call them to the negotiation table after the state government had made its position clear that it will not dialogue with them. Meyachi disclosed that the armed bandits adopted 12 persons at Meyachi town and killed 2, while at Jambaku community they adopted 20 and killed 1. He added that they are carrying out their activities along the Funtua-Gusau highway on a daily basis, unleashing terror on innocent travelers.
The only place where it has gone down is between Kaura to Shinkafi, where Tuji has piped down. But from Gusau to Ansada, too bad. From Gusau, by the time you pass 50, 40, 30 kilometers past Tazame to Funtua, you are in trouble.
Umar Mohammed is a resident of Maradon town in Maradon local government, which is one of the epicenters of banditry activities. He explained that banditry started like herder-farmer conflict and later graduated to where some people acquired firearms and started attacking communities, kidnapping people for ransom and raping women and children.
This issue of banditry supposed to have a serious attention from the government. You see, we have been experiencing the situation and we are handicapped.
For Abdullahi Chakwa, banditry has graduated from kidnapping to commercialization of crime in the state, noting that if the government is committed to ending the menace, it will address youth unemployment, which he believes is one of the factors responsible for the escalation of insecurity.
Now, those that are idlers in the society, therefore, government must to take stride measures, must to take giant action to deal decisively with the issue of unemployment among youth.
Muhammad Meyachi and Umar Mohammed urged the government to be decisive in combating the armed bandits, insisting that negotiating with the bandits for now is not an option the government should think of.
the bandits, the police and the rest of them, the farmers, come together and agree that they will allow the farmers to harvest their crops. So that's the aim. Their behavior was necessitated by the fact that they want the government to call them for negotiation.
They all insisted that since all hideouts of the armed bandits are known, especially to the security agencies, the government should take the fight to the enclaves and clear them off because the bandits have wreaked havoc on innocent citizens as well as the economic activities in Zamfara State and parts of Northwest.
In Kebbi State, the state government has announced a ban on all mining activities across the state over security situation at the sites and the need to protect mining workers as well as host communities and put in measures for revenue generation and corporate social responsibility in the industry. Now, addressing journalists in Birnin Kebbi on Friday, the secretary to the Kebbi State government, Yakubu Tafida, says the government's decision to suspend mining activities in the state is a precautionary measure aimed at ensuring the safety of mining workers and people of the community. Now, he said the state government was not unmindful of the fact that mining is under the exclusive legislative list, yet its decision to suspend mining activities across the state was made after a thorough assessment of the current security situation in the mining sites. Now, the secretary to the state government said that the administration believes that it is of utmost importance to prioritize protection and security of its citizens as well as safeguard against converting the mining fields to a breeding ground for criminals by unauthorized foreigners and non-indigents with questionable characters, with attendant consequences in the rise and increase of banditry activities. In Plateau State, the State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Jos has upheld the election victory of Governor Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The tribunal also dismissed the petition filed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Nentawe Yilwata, for lacking merit and being incompetent. Ado Musa brings us up to date with the verdict.
Independent National Electoral Commission had declared Governor Caleb Mutfwang as the winner of governorship election held on March 18. But the APC candidate, who came second in the election, Nentawe Yilwata, had challenged the declaration of Mutfwang and asked the court to declare him winner on the grounds that the PDP failed to conduct ward congresses and that there was overvoting in some polling units during the election. The petitioner also argued that the governor did not score the highest lawful votes, asking the court to declare all the vote cast for the governor as wasted votes. Delivering judgment led by the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Erele Ifene, said the issue raised by the petitioner on party structure were pre-election matters and the petitioner lacked the lacus to challenge it. The tribunal also held that there was no evidence that Governor Mutfwang didn't score the highest lawful vote in the election. Counsel to the APC and PDP candidates speak on the judgment.
Obviously, we're in a judicial system that encourages appeals, and you are all aware that in Nigeria, sometimes decisions of lower courts are overturned in the appellate courts.
The petitioner has no cause to challenge the nomination of the governor who is in another party from that of the petitioners.
The state chapter of APC, while reacting on the judgment, called on its supporters to remain calm, as the candidate of the party will appeal the judgment at the appellate court. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
To Kogi State now, where hoodlums have reportedly invaded the house of an SDP stalwart, Abdul Yusuf Amici, at Ugwalao, the headquarters of a local government area of Kogi State, vandalizing the house and burning several vehicles in the compound. Reports indicate that the hoodlums carried out the attack between Wednesday evening and the early hours of Thursday. According to the victim, Abdul Yusuf, the hoodlums came to his house in the middle of the night, shooting sporadically and in the process setting ablaze the party's car in his care ablaze. Now, vandalizing also his own personal car and carting away his valuables, including his generating set, from the house. The Director General of the SDP campaign organization in Kogi State, Ibrahim Jibrin, who visited the scene of the incident, condemned the act and promised to inform the appropriate authorities. Now, the Kogi State Police Command's Public Relations Officer, Superintendent William Aya, did not respond to calls for a comment on the development. Diphtheria outbreak is posing a great public health risk to residents in Borno State, where dozens of people have already died from the disease. The State Director of Disease Control, Dr. Aliyu Mailafia, said this in an interview with Trust TV on the outbreak of diphtheria in Borno State.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has revealed that diphtheria, a highly contagious and potentially life-threatening bacterial disease, has killed scores of people in the country. Field Communication Officer of an international health organization, Medicines Sans Frontières (MSF), through Abdul Karim Yakubu, said MSF teams treated 6,707 suspected and confirmed cases in Kano, 110 cases in Borno, and 21 cases in Bauchi. It said several other suspected cases are under surveillance across the country. However, around 4,000 suspected cases were recorded nationwide. Borno State Director Disease Control Dr. Aliyu Mailafia explains the causes, spread and preventive measures to curtail the contagious disease in the state.
Diphtheria is an acute disease. The diphtheria is caused by a bacteria called Corynebacteria diphtheriae, which can infect anybody, but is more common in children below the age of 4. However, in our situation in Borno State, most of our cases, about 70%, are ages above 2 years to 14 years.
Women and children aged under 5 are said to be the most vulnerable groups and are the people most affected in the society.
For Borno, we have about 262 suspected cases, those who shows the sign of the disease. But among those, only 14 were confirmed to have diphtheria. So, and also all these numbers are in 8 LGS. So we have already conducted targeted response to these diphtheria outbreaks in those settlements where we have cases, suspected cases. So we have conducted, and now those of Mobile is ongoing now. They are doing the vaccination now.
Diphtheria can lead to difficulty in breathing, heart rhythm problems, and even death. It is, however, preventable with vaccines for infants, children, teens, and adults.
Elsewhere, residents of Naze Owerri North local government area of Imo State are decrying the poor state of road infrastructure across communities. Speaking to Trust TV News, a cross-section of residents say the government is paying lip service to their concerns in light of the infrastructure deficit affecting lives and livelihood of the people in the local government area. Trust TV's Ajibade Awofeso tells us more.
This is what has become of the Naze Obibiezena Road, which has become a nightmare to motorists, especially residents and business owners. This has continued unabated with no effort from the government to salvage the situation. Businesses are being crippled due to the inaccessibility of the road as the residents narrate their ordeal.
It's a shame that we're in a country like this. We're not just happy. This road has been in this condition for the past many, let me say 5, 6 years, if I'm not mistaken.
I see that the business here has collapsed already. Some people that are living here, many of them have backed out.
We, the people living around this area, we find this very difficult to move. And we are asking for the government to come to help us.
There's a major market here called Ori Obibi, and that market is a central market. Almost everybody from different, even some people from outside the state, they do come here. But due to this road, this is the major road that leads to that place. We've been unable to access the road.
Dealers of perishable food items are now experiencing low patronage and running at a loss. This woman is one of them, and this is what she has to say.
Passing through here, they neither look for an alternative road. You understand? So the sea is really affecting us. The sales, the turn up it's nothing to write home about.
Others who spoke lamented the poor style of governance in the area and expressed total dissatisfaction with the non-functionality of local government council that should have brought government to the grassroots. They are therefore demanding an urgent change from the status quo.
What we are expecting from them is the dividend of democracy.
There is no local government in the state that is functional now. For now, the allocation is controlled by the state executive, and they do whatever or choose to do whatever they like with it.
The call is coming in the wake of the electioneering activities, with the APC seeking re-election. But the special advisor to the governor on political matters, Enyenaya Onwegbu, while reacting to the matter, exonerates the governor.
It will be very uncharitable for anybody resident at Naze to complain about poor road network, because one of the first routes done by this government is the road that moves from Naze to Nekede Polytechnic. We remember when we took office that road was flooded, was impassable. Today that road is a dual carriageway. So we'll all urge them to be a little more patient and the road will be done.
With the numerous campaign promises from various political parties in the governorship race, nothing will gladden the hearts of the residents other than a successful election of the right candidate that will offer them good governance. Ajibade Awofeso, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Well, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we'll tell you about the extraordinary tale of the tricycle rider in Kano who returned millions in missing money. Details of this coming up ahead in just a moment. Welcome back to the news update. Thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. Troops rescue 6 Gusau female students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining sites across the state over security concerns. To Kano State now. The extraordinary tale of commercial tricycle rider who returned missing 15 million naira to the owner has been in the news for his exemplary conduct. Individuals and groups have been celebrating him with monetary rewards and gifts. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin met with Awolu Salisu to speak on his motivation behind his celebrated gesture.
Awalu Salisu is a commercial tricycle rider in Kano. He recently picked a passenger who later forgot large sum of money estimated at over 15 million naira.
It was on Thursday I picked these passengers from Ring Road. They told me I should drop them to Tafawa Balewa, and they promised to pay me 5,500 naira. So there is a bag, they are carrying a bag. I don't know what is inside the bag. It was after I dropped them, I came back to Yankaba. I was cleaning my tricycle when I saw the bag at the back of my tricycle. When I checked, I see that it's a huge sum of money that I can't even recognize the notes. So I took it to my mother, I brought it home, I told them this is what is happening. So they said I should keep the money and wait until when maybe we will hear an announcement on the radio. And eventually we had the announcement and we returned the money.
A 22-year-old secondary school dropout. Awalu resorted to tricycle business some 3 years ago, hoping to raise some money to further his education. Unfortunately, problem at home interferes with his plan.
I have finished my primary school. I started secondary school, but I dropped out from JS3. And this is largely because I don't have money.
We visited Awalu's family in higher quarters of Kano metropolis to meet with his parents. His father, Salisu Dambaba, is a butcher by trade. He says the day Awalu brought the money to the house, there was in fact nothing to eat at home.
You see, we are poor, but we are not illiterate. Even when he brought the money, the very day he dropped the money, I don't have 1 kobo to give these children. It was my wife who went and borrowed 150 naira. She bought gari for the children, and as you can see, we are 10 in number, and that is how we kept on managing. We kept the money, believing that even if we touch this money does not belong to us. And we thank God that the owners have come around and we have handed over the money to them.
In recognition of his sincerity, the Kano State House of Assembly has resolved to invite and honor this tricycle rider over what he did.
I called that the house should invite this young man, let him come to the house, go at the floor, then get a commendation letter written by the State House of Assembly so that he will keep for history. Then I called on the state government to look at the condition of the bond.
Awalu is now celebrated as a trustworthy tricycle rider, as he is being celebrated by both family and friends across Kano State. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
A very rare patriotic act from that young man. Well, taking a look at other news now, Dr. Olami Michael Cardoso, nominated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has formally assumed duty in an acting capacity as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, pending his confirmation by the Nigerian Senate. A statement signed by Directorate Corporate Communication, Isa Abdulmumini, says that this followed the resignation of Godwin Emefiele as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Similarly, the deputy governors designate have also assumed duty in acting capacity, also following the resignation of Folashadun Shonobi, Aisha Ahmed, Edward Lametek Adamu, and Dr. Kingsley Obiora as deputy governors of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Dr. Cardoso and his colleagues subscribed to the relevant oath of office at a brief ceremony held at the bank's head office in Abuja on Friday, and have since settled down to the task of administering monetary and financial sector policies of the federal government. Dr. Cardoso and his colleagues were nominated to the new positions at the Central Bank on September 15, subject to the confirmation by the Nigerian Senate. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has called on Nigerians living abroad to shift their mindset towards success and consider returning home. The president made this appeal during a presidential town hall meeting with Nigerians in New York, United States. Now, the event, organized by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, took place on the sidelines of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The president stated the need for change of mindset and urged Nigerians to embrace the abundant business opportunities available in the country.
Forget the frustration of previous
years of leadership. I commend the effort on the out-of-school children, the healthcare program, the need to eradicate poverty. Sincerely, we have no reason to be poor. Yes. We are just poor in some leadership areas. Yes. The driver of our project, all of you collectively, either your parents, your husband, your wives, and sisters, we have a reason to be proud of Nigeria.
In Ghana, at least 49 persons were arrested in the capital Accra on Thursday as the police tried to prevent protesters trying to storm the seat of government, the Jubilee House, on Thursday over a lingering economic crisis in the country. The police, according to eyewitnesses, physically assaulted the protesters who had gathered in their red and black attires to show anger over hardship in the West African country. Some journalists were also picked up and later released by the police. The protest was organized by Democracy Hub, a governance advocacy group which condemned the use of brute force to thwart a peaceful protest. According to a statement issued on Thursday, police spokesperson Juliana Obeng did not comment on the abuse but said they were picked up in, quote, connection with an unlawful assembly, citing a last-minute court process by the police to stop the planned demonstration. Ghana's largest opposition, National Democratic Congress, described Thursday's police-civilian clash as a shame. Many Ghanaians bashed the government for using force to quell civilian protest. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. We hope to see you back at 9 p.m. for today's bulletin. But for now, feel free to follow us across our social media platform for more content and visit trusttv.com for the latest. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.